Reptiles. And I guess that'll do. As you can see behind me, I've been building a lot lately. I redid our whole garage so I could have more room for building enclosures and all that kind of stuff. But that's not what this video is about. This video is about reptiles, it's about snakes, it's about what is the absolute best first reptile you can buy, or second or third. And it's not a list, it's just gonna give you one answer today. That's it. First, I gotta fill up my mister though, because it is completely dry and we need water in the reptile room. Oh, this hose leaks like crazy. When it comes to beginner reptiles, beginner snakes, beginner lizards, you guys have all probably heard some of the main species: bearded dragons, leopard geckos, corn snakes, ball pythons. Those are all generally considered beginner species, and there's probably more you can think of. And maybe one of those is the best first reptile, but let's talk about it. I don't actually wear glasses, I just use these for listening to music on the go. This little girl is a Texas indigo snake. Absolutely amazing animal, incredibly smart, beautiful, iridescent, pretty low upkeep, can be a little bit stinky, but an amazing animal. And you don't really see them on the list of best beginner snakes or best beginner reptiles. And I don't really know why. I think they would be a great animal for people. And although this snake is amazing, this snake is not my answer to what the best beginner reptile is. In fact, my answer to that question is a lot easier than you may think. The best beginner or the best first reptile for you is... Sometimes it's hard for me to film with an animal because I just want to interact with it and not actually make a video. So please hold, we're gonna put Roz back. Roz is back in her enclosure right next to me. It's kind of my socialization enclosure where they can see me constantly working and doing things, which I think is great for temperament and everything else. But back to the subject at hand. What is the best first reptile to get? And I'm going to make this answer very simple. The best first reptile to get is the one you're most interested in and have the means to take care of. Now, when I say it's the one you're most interested in, that's easy, right? If there's a ton of different snake species and there's one that really interests you, but maybe it's not considered a beginner-friendly animal, that's okay. Research it, figure out if you can take care of it and the needs that it has, talk to other keepers, and go with that animal. Because 9 times out of 10, if you get an animal that you're not interested in because you think maybe it might be a little too tricky, then you're not gonna end up giving it that much attention and care, and it's not gonna be the best situation. Get what you actually want as long as you have the means to take care of it. There are a ton of videos online and lists online that show the best beginner reptiles. And these are great as a starting point if you just know you want a reptile but you don't have anyone specific in mind. I even made a video talking about matching your personality type with animals and which one to get based off of that. These are all great starting points. But don't be dissuaded if you're reading a list and it says this is for intermediate keepers. I know this might be controversial, but I believe most people will do better with an intermediate species they really want versus a beginner species that they really don't want. And there's an asterisk here, right? This means that you're doing your research, you're understanding the husbandry and the care requirements of the animal that you're interested in, and you're being really honest with yourself whether or not you have the means to take care of that animal, if you have the knowledge, if you have the space, if you have the budget. All of these things go into being able to take care of an animal. Also the time, right? These are all things that are very important. Some animals require more time and socialization. Some are more display animals. Some can be more bitey when they're young, so you have to be okay with that. There's so many factors that go into this. But in general, I think people should get what excites them the most, what they're gonna be most excited to handle and take care of and show off, and those things, those are very important things. I don't think you should just get an animal just because it's on a beginner list if you have no interest in it. That doesn't make any sense. And I'm not saying that just because you really like an animal that you should go out and get that one tomorrow. No, like I said before, you have to do the research. Sometimes there might be a huge period between deciding you want to get that animal and actually getting it, getting the enclosure, getting things set up. Maybe it's research. If it's a venomous animal, maybe you need to do an apprenticeship with a venomous keeper and learn those skills and everything else before you really have the means and the knowledge to be able to keep that animal. There's so much that goes into this, and like I said, I'm just as guilty for making these, you know, kind of best beginner animal things because it's fun to talk about and it is fun to share different animals that might appeal to different people, and some lesser known animals that might be really good for beginners, like Roz, our Texas Indigo, which I think Texas Indigos are phenomenal first animals. They're smart, they're intelligent, they need a little bit more space. Their needs aren't that tricky, and they're wonderful to handle and work with. Really all indigos, but that's a whole separate video. The other thing that I've noticed when people are getting their first reptile is they focus on the price of just the animal, and they think, oh, this animal's a little bit less expensive, maybe I'll go with this one versus another one if you're interested in maybe like 2 or 3 different species. But don't just look at the cost of the individual animal. You have to look at the cost of keeping it over time, and that can vary a ton between different animals depending on how much they eat, how dirty they are, what kind of enclosure and enrichment they need. Look at the full picture, not just the upfront cost. Some species might be like twice as expensive to get the animal, but their enclosures might be less. The amount of food they take, the type of food they take, the bedding, substrate, all these things could be a lot less. So your cost over the first year might be a lot less than buying a less expensive animal. And that's pretty much all I wanted to cover in this video. It's top of mind because I've talked to a few people lately who wanted one animal, ended up getting persuaded to get a different animal because of maybe things they saw online or whatever else. And now they're rehoming that animal because they're gonna get the animal they originally wanted, because they're just not really in love with the animal they got talked into getting, which is a thing. If you're watching this and you were thinking about getting your first reptile, or maybe even your second or third, number one, hit that subscribe and notification button, help support my channel. But do your research and get what you're most interested in and have the means to keep. I can't say that enough. I think it's just like, it should be like the golden rule of getting animals. And that's all for me. I hope everyone has an amazing day, and we'll catch you soon. Peace. Oh yeah, and I did show off one of the new animals on Instagram, but I have 2 other animals that are gonna be shown off pretty soon because I gotta clean all the cages in here in the next couple days. So stay tuned.